Your brother fell today, taken down by the man who loved him more than anyone. All that's left of him is dust. Literally, dust inside an empty suit of armor. This was Ahriman's doing, your first captain, the best among you, to save you from something far worse. Out of love. And when you see what exactly he was saving you from, you'll understand why this was the worst decision he could have made, and why he had no other choice. But first, something important, something you never knew your entire life. You were cursed before you were born. When the Emperor was creating your legion, warp storms of unprecedented force erupted over Terra. Everyone panicked. Ships couldn't fly. People had nightmares. The Emperor didn't react. Not because he didn't notice, because he caused it himself. He made a deal. The same kind of deal he made with the Chaos Gods when creating the Primarchs. You give me the power to create what I want. I give you something in return. Tzeentch received claim over your soul. Not immediately. Gradually. Through what is known as the flesh change. The flesh change is a mutation from the warp. Your brothers began to change against their will. Bones broke and grew wrong. The mind dissolved. Those who couldn't hold on stopped being themselves, and the Legion was forced to let them go. It happened without warning, at any moment, to any one of you. The Emperor's advisor, Malkador, later admitted the problem wasn't in the genetics. It's something deeper in them, in their very core. Not a disease, a curse that lives in the warp, written in before birth. You didn't know this. No one told you. Remember that when we get to what happened next. Your home was called Prospero, not a world of warriors, not a planet of blacksmiths or hunters. Prospero was a city of light. The silver spires of the capital reflected the stars so well you could walk the streets at night without a torch. Libraries at the base of every tower. Academies on every street. The local lynxes, nearly the size of horses, wandered alongside people like pets. The people of Prospero were divided into castes, artists and philosophers, stargazers and craftsmen. And yet the city's official motto was, "All are equal beneath the shining sun." Irony carved into stone. They knew they weren't equal, and still believed that knowledge mattered more than ancestry. Into this world fell your father, Magnus the Red. He was red-haired, enormous, one-eyed. He gave the other to halt the flesh change when it first struck the Legion. The greatest psyker in human history after the Emperor himself. Before ever meeting his father in person, they spoke telepathically. Flying through the currents of the warp together, two minds across space. He remembers his own birth in full, the only one of his brothers who possessed awareness from the very first moment. When Magnus found you, the Thousand Sons finally became what they had always wanted to be. A legion of scholars, psykers, people who understand what lies beyond the horizon of the visible. Every warrior in your legion is a psyker. That is the first and only requirement. See the future. Move matter with your mind. Read the enemy's thoughts before they can raise their weapon. That's exactly why the flesh change is so terrifying. It strikes at the very thing that makes you you. You belong to a cult, one of 5. The Corvidae read the currents of time and see what's coming. The Raptora move matter through thought, shields, throws, kinetic strikes. The Pavoni heal and reshape living things. The Pyrae burn. The Athenians read minds directly. Your cult isn't just a specialization. It's your character. It's who you are, and you have a tutelary, a small creature from the warp that follows you. For one warrior, it looks like a phoenix. For another, like mathematical patterns visible only to you. It's part of you. Literally, a fragment of your own psyche made external. You created it without knowing. It senses when you're exhausted. It's there when things go dark. Later, you'll find out it wasn't entirely yours. Your legion was conquering the galaxy for the Emperor and doing it differently from everyone else. Where the space wolves charged in with a battle cry and left rubble behind, you arrived and asked questions. What do you need? What do you want? What are you afraid of? Then you solved the problem. Worlds that surrendered to you received academies and archives, not occupation. When it was time to fight, you fought without wasted words. Ahriman's brother, Ormuzd, took 60 warriors and seized an entire night world, massive war machines piloted by humans, in 8 minutes. He simply burned out the pilots inside their cockpits, remotely, with psychic force. No one had time to raise a weapon. That is the Thousand Suns at their peak. Not a mob of berserkers, not a wall of armor. 60 warriors. And a planet surrenders in 8 minutes because no one can figure out what's happening fast enough to stop it. Ahriman is your first captain, the one we started with. He had a twin brother, Ormuzd, the F-inest psyker after Ahriman himself. Their mother gave them both matching wooden pendants before they were taken into the Legion. Ahriman wore both, his own and his brother's, for the next 10,000 years after Ormuzd fell to the flesh change. Right there on his shoulder. Every single day. Never took them off. Remember that too. There was a moment when everything could still have gone differently. The Council of Nicaea, the place where the emperor gathered his sons and everyone with an opinion about psychic powers. Officially, to discuss the dangers. In practice, it was a trial. One by one, those who despised psykers took the floor and spoke of fears and monsters. Primarch Mortarion, raised among necromancers on a poisoned world, demanded a ban. Primarch Leman Russ and his space wolves watched with undisguised contempt. Magnus defended you, brilliantly, passionately. Some brothers stood with him. Sanguinius, Jagatai Khan. They understood what was being said. The Edict of Nicaea banned legions from using psykers, all of them, except the space wolves, for whom it's not sorcery, it's runes, except the navigators without whom ships can't fly, except the emperor himself, who never stopped working with the warp. You stand in that hall and listen as they tell you that you are a danger, that what you are is a threat, that the abilities you've honed for years, the ones that made you a warrior, a scholar, part of something greater, are now forbidden. The exact same abilities the Space Wolves are using right now, just under a different name. Your legion, the one that turned its gifts into science, into a system, into an art, received the ban. Publicly. In front of all the brothers. Magnus was humiliated before the very people who never respected him. This was not protection. This was a sacrifice made for the sake of politics. Nicaea was a PR move, a way to appease those who were afraid, at the expense of those who could no longer be stopped. You were offered up, publicly, beautifully. Magnus saw the betrayal coming. One of the senior brothers had crossed over to the side of the Chaos Gods, was preparing for war against his own father, against the Imperium they had spent 1,000 years building. Magnus saw it through the warp. He was a seer, the best there was, and he rushed to warn the Emperor. The only way to get through fast enough, a warp message sent directly to the Golden Throne. Break through every barrier, whatever the cost. He didn't know that the barriers he was tearing through were part of the Emperor's secret project, a passage through the Eldar Webway that was meant to free humanity from dependence on the warp. Years of work, thousands of lives, the great hope for the future. Destroyed in a single blow. Magnus thought he was helping. He didn't know about the Webway. The Emperor had deliberately kept him in the dark. He used the best he had. He didn't betray anyone. He made a mistake. The difference between betrayal and a mistake is 40,000 years of war. And here's what makes it even worse. Magnus saw the future. He was a seer, but he didn't see this, because Tzeentch made sure that exactly this part of the picture stayed hidden. The greatest prophet in history, blind precisely where it counted. Then Magnus stood in the middle of the Emperor's palace and understood everything at once. He understood that the Webway was gone, that the men who had lent him their power for that message hadn't just given power, they had been consumed as fuel for a demonic ritual, that everything he was proud of, mastery, knowledge, control, had been an illusion, that he had been dancing to someone else's music his entire life. His psyche literally shattered in that moment. Several fragments of his personality broke off and began to exist separately, each embodying some part of Magnus. One of those fragments later became the foundation for the Grey Knights, a secret order of demon hunters forged from the Emperor's own legacy. The Thousand Sons created their greatest enemies, unintentionally, from themselves. When Leman Russ's fleet appeared in the system, Magnus already knew. He was a seer. Of course he knew. And he shut down the early warning systems, forbade the Legion to raise the alarm. A warrior who tried to wake his brothers, Magnus stopped him personally. The fleet was sent away in advance. He thought he was saving the Imperium from a war between two loyalist armies. If the Legion resisted, two would fall. Better one. He made the decision for all of you. Then he saw that Russ wasn't going to stop, that the order wasn't capture but destroy, that no surrender would change anything. He came down, started fighting. You fought on streets you had known your whole life. Silver towers crumbled around you, libraries burned, entire repositories of knowledge that exist nowhere else in the universe. The lynxes ran into the fire because there was nowhere else to go. And here's the thing, you almost won. A legion of psykers against an army of berserkers, and you almost won. With no fleet, no warning. Against the custodians and the sisters of silence who suppressed your psychic powers by their mere presence. Magnus fought across several dimensions simultaneously. He drove through Leman Russ's heart. He brought down his warwolves, almost. At the most decisive moment, the Tutelares laughed and turned on their masters, those small creatures that had been with you your whole life, the ones that felt like part of you. One brother lost control of a psychic knight, a war machine the size of a building, because his tutelary seized control and drove it straight into your own lines. Another detonated from within. His tutelary poured so much warp energy into him that his body gave out. One explosion, and an entire sector of the defense collapsed. They had always been Tzeentch's agents. They had always been waiting for this moment. And the flesh change returned at full force. Brothers began to change mid-battle. This wasn't a defeat. This was a betrayal by a god you hadn't even sworn to serve yet. Prospero burned. The lynxes were gone. The libraries, ash. The Thousand Sons fled into the warp. In the warp, the flesh change came back. Magnus retreated to his tower, stared into the dark, did nothing. The legion he loved, that he had protected, that had suffered because of his choices, was slowly ceasing to be itself around him. He saw it and didn't move. Ahriman watched his brothers slowly change, thought of Ormuzd, touched both pendants on his shoulder, thought about the vow he had made himself. This will never happen again. He secretly took from Magnus a forbidden tome, the Book of Magnus, a repository of forbidden knowledge written by the Primarch himself, and together with a conclave of the F-Inest sorcerers developed a ritual, the Rubric, a working that was meant to heal the Legion once and for all, to tear the flesh change out by the roots. He didn't ask permission. He knew Magnus would refuse. The ritual worked. Not like that. Those who had psychic ability grew stronger. Those who didn't crumbled. Dust and armor. Their souls fused into the ceramite. They hear. They feel. They follow commands. They simply cannot change anything. Imagine being trapped, not in a cage, inside your own armor. You see the battle. You hear the orders. You move forward. But you can't stop. Can't speak. Can't choose. Your body keeps F-iting. But you aren't in it anymore. Just an echo. That's what it means to be a Rubric Marine. Your brother fell today, taken down by the man who loved him more than anyone. All that's left is dust. Now you know why. Magnus came down from his tower, looked at what remained of the Legion, and exiled Ahriman forever. The one who wanted to save them became the cause of their ruin. The one who loved his brothers most, stripped of the right to be near them. And Tzeentch laughed, because this was exactly how it was supposed to go. Ahriman's hope made him the most useful being in the universe for the god of hope. As long as he has a goal, he won't stop. As long as he won't stop, Tzeentch feeds. Ahriman has been wandering for 10,000 years. He's still searching for a way to reverse the rubric. First he tried to break into the Black Library, a vault of forbidden knowledge hidden inside the Eldar Webway. He did it, entered through astral projection, and realized the answer wasn't there. Now he hunts Necron time travel technology. The Necrons, an ancient race of mechanical beings who slept for millions of years, possess technology that allows movement through time. Ahriman wants to literally rewrite the past. Go back to the moment before the rubric. Once he nearly succeeded, one brother came back, one out of thousands. Tzeentch gave him a carrot, proof that it's possible, so that Ahriman never stops. Meanwhile, Magnus built the new kingdom. He used the dying screams of an entire world as fuel for a ritual and pulled the planet of the sorcerers, your home in the warp, back into real space. Now it hangs above dead Prospero like a reminder of what once was. Nearby, several conquered worlds, a new state, a new Prospero, almost. You conquer worlds not with fire, but with dreams. Sorcerers slip into the minds of local leaders at night, show them visions of the future, make offers that are difficult to refuse. Some worlds join willingly, because the new kingdom offers what the Imperium never could, the right to be what you are. And every night, Magnus transmits a dream. Every psyker in the Imperium sees the same thing: silver towers, light, a voice that says, "Come to us. You are safe here. You are free here. No one will hunt you for what you are." He's building a refuge for those the Imperium persecutes for their psychic gifts. Some of those promises are true. There's a phrase the Thousand Sons use as a battle cry. All is dust. They don't shout it. They whisper it, because it's not about victory. It's about the brother who's gone. Only an empty suit of armor left. About the silver towers that fell. About the dream of what the Imperium could have been. Where knowledge matters more than fear. Where psykers are scholars, not prey. You were created cursed, a deal you never made. You were forbidden to be yourself, a trial you never lost. Your world was burned for a mistake you never made. Your first captain turned most of your brothers to dust out of love for them. At every turn, someone else's decisions, someone else's mistakes, someone else's deals. You never betrayed anyone. You never abandoned your principles. You didn't choose chaos. Chaos chose you before you were born. If anywhere in the Warhammer universe there exists a legion that genuinely has nothing to apologize for, it's you. And that's exactly why you lost. Because Tzeentch loves those with righteous cause. It makes them predictable. Righteous fury is the finest fuel for an endless war. And still you don't stop. Because Tzeentch is the god of hope. And as long as you hope that the next spell will undo all the previous ones, you're his. As long as you're his, he won't let you fall. He'll keep you moving forever. Ahriman has been wandering for 10,000 years. Ormuzd's pendants are still on his shoulder. Tomorrow he'll try again.